I'm here. Give me 1 second. I gotta turn TikTok on. 1 second. 1 second. All right, share. Oh, shut up. Shut up. All right, share. I'm getting right there. What is happening? Okay. Wrong thing. Come on, link. Oh my god, what the hell's happening right now? The link is not working. Hold on, I'll be right there. Oh my god, that was so long. Okay. Paste. Okay. There it is. Okay. All right. Okay, it's working. Oh, TikTok is on. Oh my god, hi, I'm here. Yes. Is anybody here? Nobody's here yet. Okay. And is Instagram here? Should we get... Okay. All right, that should be catching up. Okay, I'm Ralph T with Kristen Ray. This is the Who's Studying On podcast. And if you guys can hear the background noise, I have to go shut the windows because these freaking kids are out here. Yeah, they're screaming. They won't shut up. Anyway, I'm going to talk about Justin and Blake because a lot of stuff happened every weekend. Taylor got booed at the Super Bowl, by the way. And the Eagles won, though. That's our team. It's my area, so that's exciting. Okay, she got booed. I'm glad she did. That's fine. You know, she's up in this mess now. It's obvious, right? And if not, people just don't like people. You know, people believe Justin, right? Because Justin was the one that originally said that she was there, right alongside Ryan. Okay, and right alongside Blake, basically yelling at Justin. So I pulled up some clips. I know right now, I don't see anybody in my chat, but Candace Owens is talking about it, and I wanted to play what she had to say. But Dave Neal also talked about it. You know, I told you about Dave Neal. He's the Rush Hour podcast. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm Reality Kristen Ray, the Who's Starting On podcast on YouTube live, and I'm live on Twitter, live on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I know I'm always missing one. X, Twitter, whatever it's called, YouTube, and then I'm also live. I'm sorry, on Instagram. And then you can also hear these on the Who's Studying On podcast side. And if you are, you can come watch the Crazy Live 3 days a week, where I can't sit still playing with my hair and all that fun stuff. Which don't ask me what else. So yeah, Dave Neal, Rush Hour podcast. When my mod gets here, I'm gonna ask her to put his information in the comments and the live chat because I always link his stuff actually too in the description because I play his videos because he talks about the Justin Baldoni, the latest Blake Live it all, and he is so on Team Justin, and so am I. And I like that, even though I welcome opposing opinions. If you see something differently, please come in. This is an open panel. I want somebody, if you think that Blake is right or you feel like Justin is still wrong somehow, I like to know what you're saying. I'm also fascinated by the fact that Ryan can see in black and white that Blake lied. And, unless there's more to this, there's 168 pages. And it just spells it out. And I don't know what he sees. Does he not see what we see? I'm fascinated by this. And anybody else, like, on his side, do you understand what I mean? Like, I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. It freaks me out. How can there be that many sociopaths with 3 sociopaths and 2 of them are married to each other? You know what I mean? Whoever would have thought there'd be another Amber Heard in this world? Because, everybody's like, oh, it's not the same thing. Well, she's got the same freaking cuckoo, delulu, whatever the fuck's going on in her brain that makes her believe the things that she's alleging or feeling like are happening. She's making things up in her head. Great insane, like, scenarios that aren't there. Having these fantasies that, like, nobody was a part of her. And then it comes out that she's a liar, and Ryan's like, yeah, I'm Team Blake. Team my wife. Like, what? And here you are yelling at the man. Like, anyway, there's nobody in this chat yet, but I'm going to. We'll start with Dave's this morning, his Rush Hour podcast, and what he had to say. Let me get his information and put it in the chat. Copy, since nobody's here to do it for me. Rush Hour podcast. I'm going to put his name, Dave Neal, because he's awesome. Like I said, he can say in like 10 minutes what I can't even say in an hour. Like, I can't even get to my point. I'm just fascinated by this. I always didn't care about it at first. And now I do, because I realize, oh my God, it's just like Amber Heard. And I don't think we're going to be able to see the freaking, are we going to be able to see the court case? It's not for another year and a half. we can't do this for another year and a half. Something's gonna break, and they're gonna like go sooner. I don't know, but like we cannot wait until 2026. What is CapCut doing? Where are you here, CapCut? Get out of my face. Where am I? All right, I'm back. Okay, so since nobody's here, let me mess with the camera, guys. Literally, like, look, I filled this other filter on my camera. It makes people dizzy. Is it not gonna work now? Oh my god, I want you guys to see it. All right, forget it. It's taking too long. Get out of here. Where did I? All right, I'm back. I'm not leaving again. Hey. All right. Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry. I was like, nobody's here, so I'm just like playing with the camera. All right. So I'm going to play this, like the latest Rush Hour podcast from Dave talking about the Blake Lively. And whenever I talk about how Taylor got booed at the Super Bowl, good for her. She deserves it. You know what I mean? Oh, get out of there. Okay. So this is Dave Neal, Rush Hour podcast this morning. Let me speed it up. And also, I'll tell you about him also. He's going on this other case he was telling us the other day, or telling his podcast the other day, and it was about somebody else that's like crazy.
Happy Monday to you. It is February 10th, 2025. I've got all of your news stories here in one place for your rush hour ride to work. On this episode, we'll be discussing last night's Super Bowl. Some called it boring. It was quite a game. They thought the halftime show was either amazing or the worst show ever, depending on who you asked. And Taylor Swift got booed. So we'll get into all of those aspects of the story. If you're Kansas City, it was a rough one. But hey, you won 2 in a row. What do you want? You know, exactly. The Eagles are your daddy. That's right. Philadelphia Eagles put on a whooping. It was quite a game for them. We'll cover that. Plus, The Bachelorette canceled or just postponed. We'll get into the details we heard over the weekend. Again, as I mentioned, Taylor booed, justice for Taylor Swift. And I've got a Bravo breakup, Paige DeSorbo. You're going to get all those stories and more on Friday of this past week, but we are waiting. We'll have to see if that breaks. We'll have more regarding Justin Baldoni later in the podcast. We're going to discuss his new podcast episode coming out today and what Megyn Kelly had to say. But hey, good news for you. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you had a fun night last night watching the Super Bowl. Maybe you're passing gas at work today. I mean, God knows we all ate too much cheese yesterday. I think I could speak for all of us and say we didn't eat that much cheese. Well, here we have Starbucks offering free coffee today. Have a listen to this.
Starbucks, so if you sign up.
Pimping for Starbucks, but you get a free, when your members will emerge. But hey, what better way? I didn't like the goddess of whatever from the Olympics opening ceremony. As if, like, who cares if you didn't like the Olympics opening ceremony? And then, of course, last night with the Super Bowl, we're going to have people complaining about Shakira's skirt being too tight or whatever. You know, there's always something. And, it turns out people just didn't like the halftime show, which generally somebody always doesn't like the halftime show. My thoughts on Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, to be quite honest, I must have not been around when he became popular. I don't know too much of his music. I've been listening to a Spotify playlist called The Merciless Yes. Well, look, I'm not here. I guess Drake is suing him over because it and harass.
Super Bowl. Sorry, guys. I'm just skipping ahead
of his career. The Eagles roared to a 40-22 victory over the Chiefs on Sunday night in Nolans. That Mahomes still stuck at 3. They weren't able. Performance where he calls out, love to sue, when I call him quite possibly the worst thing you can call somebody without any evidence. Now, I'm not picking sides in the beef here. I'm just saying I thought it was pretty interesting, to toe that line in the rap beef wars that they have. All right, the real issue here is those that booed Taylor Swift. Now, fans were upset. I guess Taylor Swift fans were upset that she got booed. Let's just have a listen to it. She took it in stride. Here it is. So they're booing her, and she looks at the Jumbotron, and she then says to her friends, hey, so what's going on, everybody? And which, by the way, I think that's a very fun thing for her to say. She's aware of her stardom. But look, Taylor Swift, you can't get too upset if Philadelphia Eagles fans boo you. Yeah. They once threw snowballs at Santa Claus. Okay, you just have to understand there's something in the water in Philadelphia that makes them the way they are. I love Philly for that. I love all my friends. Congrats to, and again, as a New England Patriot fan, we're supposed to have beef with Philly. No, I mean, I love the city. I mean, is it the city of brotherly love? I mean, I don't know about that. But hey, it's I think Jersey, Philly, there's just certain people from certain places that I just love, and Philly's one of them. There's something in the water. All right, so let's move it on. What did Jason Tartick think? He's got an opinion. He says it's the worst Super Bowl ever. Have a listen to this.
I think I might be witnessing the worst Super Bowl of all time. From the game to the competition to the halftime show, this might be the worst.
Yikes. All right. Didn't like the halftime show. Maybe it played better on TV. I'm sure I'll get comments from everyone out there voicing your opinions on it. But just remember, sometimes it's not for you. They are no earth, wind, and fire. You know what I mean? All right. The story everyone doesn't really care about, and that's why it's getting canceled, is The Bachelorette. Paused for summer 2025 ABC dating series to skip a cycle. So it's not that they're canceled. They're just on a break, to use dating terms. And by the way, is it because Grant's season is off to a terrible start? I don't think it's Grant's fault. It's just been a slow moving death by 1,000 paper cuts, that being the Bachelor franchise. They're not giving out any roses this summer. ABC is pausing its female-led spinoff of The Bachelor, which will be a blow for fans of the long-running dating series. The show starts production shortly, and the last 3 seasons have aired in July. Look, maybe they should air it in the fall. I don't know. Isn't it weird having the Bachelorette on in the summer? Everyone's out barbecuing. No one's watching the show anyway.
Justin, get to the Justin stuff.
Bring out, but
what? Is this the chick that said
Christy Carlson Romano was on the show, and now she's sharing an injury.
What?
Out of the.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to find all the information that he has. We just talked about Craig.
Well, Paige DeSorbo, I guess, said that their breakup was mutual. And Craig Conover says, no, it wasn't. Ooh, here's what he had to say on Watch What Happens Live.
Paige lied on her podcast and said the breakup was mutual. I didn't tell her what to say. I got a text and she said, I'm announcing it on my podcast. And then she said it was mutual, which it wasn't. I didn't know about it. She called me and told me.
Paige said no one was blindsided.
Well, we were planning our future together.
Okay.
I had no way of, we never fought. I was moving to New York.
When Patricia was here last week, she claimed that she always thought Paige was mean to you. What was your reaction to that?
I don't think Paige was. I think we had an awesome relationship. I think you get to see a small amount and, on TV, she plays it up, but in private, I mean, we were a very cute couple.
There they are, a cute couple. So I guess he's the Rachel Kirkconnell in the situation, if you know Bachelor and you can relate the two. I don't know. What do I know? There's so many relationships in the Bravo universe. I've said this before. If I ever need to go into an underground bunker for an extended period of time, just give me the Bravo channel. That's literally all I need. Imagine if aliens could only access the Bravo channel. They'd be like, what's with these people? They all work on yachts and
they watch TV. They watch us, the aliens. We are the reality TV, they said.
Are real housewives. There's nothing in between. All right. Well, today's a big day for Justin Baldoni. He's got a podcast coming out. I shared this clip over the weekend, but it's real quick. Let's have a listen. He's going to be on the Gents I guess it's called Gents Talk podcast. Have a listen.
Yeah. Intense year. This morning I sent a text message. I had anxiety. Why is that? I haven't talked about this yet, but
there it is. He says he has anxiety and it's something he hasn't talked about. It was filmed in November of 2024. So was he going to be talking about the sexual harassment stuff? Well, he hadn't been hit with any lawsuits yet, and he didn't file his lawsuits. At that time, he was being very quiet about it. So my guess is we're not going to get much tea from that podcast, but I'll listen to it 2 p.m. Eastern time and I'll let you guys know. Now, speaking of tea, we've got tea all day long when it comes to Megyn Kelly. Listen, I don't know if it's the lead poisoning from her generation. Respectfully, I have no idea if it's that, or maybe there's some neurological issues going on with Ozempic. I really have no idea what's going on. I would love to talk to Meg just to be like, why does everything have to be culture war? Every single topic with Megyn Kelly can fall into a trans issue, a feminist issue, an Elon. There's only the crayon box is not full with many crayons when it comes to waging the war against the culture. So by the way, listen for yourself. Here's what she has to say about thinking Justin Baldoni is a wussy, I guess. Have a listen.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history.
And this is a problem. Overly feminized man. If you look at Justin Baldoni, especially in the movie, he's got 8 abs.
Yeah. Yes. But she's talking about
Masculinity to look like beer belly, 2 Bud Lights, smoking a cigarette, Marlboro, maybe chewing tobacco. Like where does she come from? And then you remember, well, she came from Fox News with Roger Ailes when there was all just like be a hot blonde in a tight dress, show your legs, and then, talent comes second. I'm not saying she's not talented. I've always really enjoyed the lawyer within Megyn Kelly, but the culture war, filed a $400 million lawsuit against her. That's not everything he could for the situation to play out the way it did, and he's been on the right side of the story ever since. I don't know how he could have played the game.
Yeah, Justin.
Hair, look trim, look proper. Go. Essentially a trade war, saying we're going to tariff them, and they said, well.
Okay. So, we have the Taylor Swift uninvite Blake. We could do the Jen's podcast instead, though. We can watch Justin's podcast. Let's watch that. A little bit. Let's just do Taylor Swift. Yeah, we already want to go over that part. So, all right, Jen's podcast. Police off the cuff. Hey, how are you? I'm talking about the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni lawsuit. I cannot believe. I wish that I guess he's not going to talk about it, but I mean, this is a good way to get to know Justin. You know what I mean? Like, even if he's not talking about the thing. Sorry. So here's a bunch of clips from it. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. All right. So I don't know, I didn't listen to it, but obviously we can't listen to the whole thing. It's really long. But yeah, let's check it out. And if you guys are watching on either all of the TikTok or whatever, I'm Reality of Krista Marie. I usually go live around 12:30, 1 o'clock on all 5 platforms, talking about the Housewives or whatever show we have, reality show. And then in the afternoon, I come back and I talk about whatever, this kind of stuff. This is usually Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. I didn't start caring about it until I realized she was another Amber Heard.
How do I do that? Because the version of masculinity that I had grown up with was just not working for me anymore. After a week, and continue to provide you with amazing value and content. It's the only thing we'll ever ask of you. If you can hit that follow or subscribe button, it would mean the world to us. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode.
Still get
Justin, I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. I want to say welcome to Jen's Talk. We're filming at the Man Enough podcast studio, which I'm really also excited about because I watched the podcast. I listened to the podcast.
Thank you.
This is a long time.
Justin does.
Coming, and I think I want to start it off just by sharing a little story, if I may.
Oh, please.
When I met my current partner, Mila, she one day came to me and gave me your book, and I didn't know what to expect from it. And at first I was a little resistant to it. I was just like, okay, what is this about? And I was still on this process and journey of understanding my masculinity in general. I was still in the middle of a divorce, a messy one. It was the middle of the pandemic. It was sort of navigating all these different things. I'm thinking to myself, I just want to become a better man. How do I do that? Because the version of masculinity that I had grown up with was just not working for me anymore. And when she gave me your book, I was resistant to it. And I didn't actually read it until I watched your TED Talk. And then I thought, okay, this isn't just some film actor who decided to try and capitalize on a market. There's a genuine passion and interest in pushing the narrative forward around what it means to be a man today. And then when I started to continue on this journey of discovery of masculinity and all these topics, you kept popping up in different ways. So for me, this is kind of he
was going through so much right here. Can you imagine what the fuck was going through this poor man's head, Justin? I cannot believe what he was enduring at this point in time when he's doing this podcast, and he couldn't talk about it.
Full circle moment just to be able to have this conversation with you. So I just want to say firstly, thank you for joining me for this conversation. But I wanted to
first of all, thank you, Samir.
That's
really sweet. And can I ask you what the resistance was? I mean, I think I know what it was, but I'm just curious.
Gotta get to.
That's where a lot
where he feels like, yeah.
Because I love what I do. I love the company I built, the brand that we've built. I love the.
Okay.
I don't have any ego in this work in that sense, because there is room for all of us.
I'm thinking as you were talking, you kept referring back to, that version of you that existed, 10, 15, 20 years ago. What would I need to know?
Yesterday, sometimes.
Today, tomorrow, it still creeps up.
This morning.
What would I need to know about the man sitting in front of me to understand who you are today?
Here we go.
Who I am today. What would you need to know?
Yeah. Because people see you from the outside. They see the successful actor,
No,
a podcast, you're an author, you're a speaker, you're an entrepreneur.
Right now.
By all accounts, you've checked off all the boxes. But one, all, none of those things may describe who you really are. So who's Justin at your core?
Good one for what we're talking about. Good one, right? Oh, this is good.
This morning, I sent a text message to my best friend, Jamie, and the president of my company, Tara. And I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had a intense year, a lot of material success, and a lot of emotional stress. It's very hard on me and my family. And I wear a lot of hats, and I carry a lot, because I love what I do. I love the company I built, the brand that we've built. I love the people that work for us. I love the movies that we make. I love the impact that we have. And yet sometimes it's easy to, as you said earlier, fall back into our programming and be swept away in the current of self and be kind of overtaken by the wave of success and opportunity. And I sent this text this morning and I just said, I love you both. I just need you to know I'm not in the best place. I woke up at 4:30 this morning. My son's had the flu. I'm not feeling great. My heart was racing. I'm noticing that, I'm having some anxiety. And when I check in with myself, I realized that I just haven't given myself the time to heal from this year that I needed. So let's prioritize our time, and let's make sure that the things that we say yes to are things that we really feel
I'm so lost at
will move the needle forward and can have impact.
Why would
and I shared that with them. And then I texted my assistant and I said, hey, in the spirit of vulnerability, I just need you to know, because you are my right hand, I need you to know where I'm at emotionally. And I then shared that text message with him. And then I sent a similar text message to my publicist, Jen, who's here, by the way. And I bring that up because she asked me, what do you need to know about who I am? And who I am is a work in progress. And who I am is somebody who is always trying to be radically sincere and authentic.
I believe everything
to myself so that I can be of service in the best way possible and have the most impact. And sometimes I can get lost.
Everything he was going through at this moment, and listen to how he's still fucking thinking and still rationalizing his life.
In the same way that everybody gets lost. But healing isn't linear, and growth.
I doubt that Ryan or Blake sit around doing anything self-reflect like this. I doubt they not one time have sat and self-reflected like this man has right here.
Isn't linear. And if you don't have setbacks, if you don't have plateaus, then you don't have the opportunity to regroup and to push forward. So I share that with you because while I look like I am all of those things, and on paper I am, I am also just like everybody else in the sense that I take on more than I can chew. I overcommit. I say yes to things out of fear. I people please.
Even now,
absolutely.
I love this.
I'm not, I think
love that he is saying this right now. What a relief. He's a normal person.
I think we have to dispel the myth that so many thought leaders or self-help gurus or podcast hosts, authors have the keys to the kingdom. Like we have to dispel the myth that that the grass is greener, that just on the other side, like if we can just get there, then we'll be in bliss and enjoying and happiness. That's not the case. Bliss and joy and happiness are here now, wherever you are. We can always improve. But I think the trap of masculinity is that we're on a never-ending quest for improvement. I mean, that's why, you go down, you look at what men are listening to or what men are reading. Like we're just trying to be better. which is why I have so much empathy and compassion for men.
I cannot stop. I am so engaged in this. I am so glad that he's talking right now.
We're just trying to be.
This is literally explaining who this man fucking is. He's showing us who he is. Before and right now, everything this fucking dude is going through. Think about this. He's just about to drop that fucking lawsuit just now. Like probably a week after this.
Better. We want to be better. We want to be better for everybody in our lives. For our wives, our children, exactly. our husbands, if we have them, for our fathers, for our children, for our friends, for our company, for our bosses, for our employees. Like the men that I know and the men that I experience in the world are not the enemy. They are just trying to be the best versions of themselves because they've grown up in a society that tells them that they're not enough the way that they are.
Is he making excuses? Like it sounds like, you know what I mean? I wonder if he's trying to make an excuse for Ryan. Like he's probably trying to figure out why Ryan would do this to him. Like he's probably making an excuse for Ryan and Blake right now, excusing their behavior, but you know what I mean, without saying it, because that's probably the only thing you can do. You have to believe that these people aren't really fucking evil, and they were trying to ruin his life, but they were.
That they have to be more or better, so that they can provide, so they can protect, so that they can be in the top 10% of men in the dating apps, so that they can find a partner.
Right.
And if you don't achieve those things, you've somehow failed.
Your masculinity is in question, and then what happens? When your masculinity is in question, you fall into depression, you have anxiety, you feel like you're failing, that you're not showing up to anything as your full authentic self. You compensate. That's when you start to hurt yourself and other people. That's why we have men that are dropping.
Oh, Jesus. I love him. Happening right now. Sorry, he gets. Fucking bullshit.
Who maybe is feeling the way that I'm feeling today. So I thought, okay, what an opportunity to share radically and honestly who I am today, how I'm feeling this morning. And it might feel different tomorrow. But if I keep that to myself and I don't share it, then I don't give you or any man who's listening permission to do the same.
Just talk.
Permission is the key word there, isn't it?
That's exactly.
I remember the first time I ever experienced vulnerability from another man. It felt like I was finally given the permission to do the same.
Of course.
And I was shocked by it all.
Yeah.
It was like I was taken aback. I remember picking up the phone and I settled on the name of a guy that felt
about
you have to say
spirituality and
he said it
with women who talk about
this idea that
I love it
with women who talk about, like, we have a lot of women that listen to the Jen's Talk podcast, and a lot of the feedback has been, I'm sincerely hoping that, you know, my husband, my partner, my brother, my father, my son will finally listen to this and go, now maybe he feels like he's got the permission because he saw so and so have this conversation
from somewhere. And so I just I think I'm just in a place where I'm also really wanting to talk a lot about spirituality and the belief in the existence of something greater. And so when I hear these little things, it just reinforces that belief to me, because I mean, I function constantly asking for that guidance and then trying to listen. But to answer your question, I read about it in the book. I talk about it in the TED Talk. There are a lot of men ready and willing,
just waiting.
I love it.
Who are ready, who want to go deep, who want to have these conversations, who want to have these relationships with their friends. And there's a lot of men who maybe don't know they want it.
Yes.
So how do you get to those men? Because in all the things that I've been doing over the last couple of years, when I have a conversation with another man, or I deliver a talk, or I do a podcast,
what else I got going on here?
My partner Mila.
And if she's not, let my attachments fade.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted men to see a guy like Ryle, who at 26, 27, we were able to, like, what am I doing?
The movie,
both of which were relationships where I was pretending to be somebody for a certain time.
And was extremely charismatic and charming and all of those things. She turned to me and she goes, every woman has dated this guy. And I had to pause and ask her, what did you mean by that? And she said, you go from being Justin Baldoni, the guy who has this podcast, these conversations, to putting on that facade for that film, to play a role that seems radically different to who you are at your core.
He hated Blake, that's why. It was easy. Sorry. That was a bad joke. Like,
you compartmentalize this character of Ryle as an example, and you remove the abuse. So let's just remove that for a second. So I want to talk about the character outside of the abuse, because what he does in the movie is unforgivable, and there's no excuse. And no amount of I'm sorry's will ever undo it or fix it. He blew up his life. And
I gotta watch the movie still.
He deserved to lose his family.
Oh.
So I want to just separate these things for a second. Outside of that, if you just look at Ryle's personality and who he is, outside of the abuse, I've been that guy. I put on that mask. I tried it in my 20s. I remember having the worst time dating.
All right.
I had 2.
All right, let's stop sharing. Listen, so far, like what he said at the beginning, that just shows you who this man is, okay? Like, I don't know how anybody can see it any other way. I don't know, like that just right there, that was done in, November, December, right? So he was just about to drop that lawsuit. So he had gone through a bunch of shit, So he says he literally says he's sorry to those people. It's like he's still apologizing for them because he's trying to see like what the fuck happened. Like, it's hard to believe that another man would try to ruin your career like that. You know what I mean? Like, for what? Like, he wonder, like, he's like, what did I do to you people? I'm sure he doesn't even know. But to steal his freaking movie, that doesn't make sense to me. They had enough money. They don't need to steal his movie. You know what I'm saying? Why? What happened? And like, yeah, I guarantee, like, they're not sitting home self-reflecting the way he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, not at all. I doubt they even like think that they've done anything wrong at this point. Let me see if I can find. I want to. Candace. She was talking about it earlier, and she's really good. Talking about, I guess, like Blake Lively of it all. I mean, Taylor Swift or something of it all. I love Candace. I mean, she's funny. But I didn't think Ryan had anything. I thought that Ryan was lied to us by his wife, and he'd probably leave her. Then I realized that no, he actually believes it. He actually believes her. He actually thinks that she's done something like. Baldoni, Trump, Taylor, podcast. Okay, Trump. This is Taylor. Oh my god, I didn't know that. It's Dave's live. I don't want to. Be fun if I go live while he's live. All right, Candace. Sorry, guys. Probably be a short show because I go to my dad's house. And I don't feel like it. Feel like it. Just my answer. Where am I? Just a Baldoni. Oh my god. Let me do that. Yeah, Simmons. It's just, I mean, he put it all out there. I mean, like, there's nothing else. Like, I don't know what else you could say. Like, I don't know what else. What could they have that, like, they could say, I don't know, to prove that she's not lying. She's lying. They blame Ryan Reynolds. What happened? How do they blame Ryan for that? Here, let's show present. Share Candace. Okay, so Swift, I blame Ryan. What? Okay. All right, you guys can see it.
Taylor Swift suddenly was like,
what happened?
surprise. That has got to signify a new era for her. I totally blame Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to tell you.
Oh.
All right, you guys, happy Monday. Obviously, the Super Bowl was last night. Unsurprisingly, Taylor Swift did not attend with Blake Lively, but she did get booed. And that was a surprise. That has got to signify a new era for her. I totally blame Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to tell you why. Also, speaking of the Deadpool devil, you are not going to believe this, but his feelings surrounding the creation of the Mr. Nice Pool character, aka Justin Baldoni, were captured and recorded in a book. He spoke about why he created this character, and it's extremely dark. It is truly dark to read this. You're not going to believe it.
No.
Also, Tucker Carlson said something that absolutely should not have offended anyone, but it did. So we're going to talk about that. And I have an amazing update for those of you who are hanging on for my Australia over the lyric. They were quote chance that Taylor Swift got booed. I don't think I have ever seen a clip anywhere ever since the dawn of her career of her getting booed. So let's watch that. Okay, first off, shout out to Ice Spice. I like this look on her a lot better than the look that she had last year. She looks a lot better. Never want to be a hater. Secondly, you can see she's quite startled by this. A lot of people enjoyed it. I think no matter what, getting booed in a stadium, it just doesn't feel good. You know, a little piece of me does feel very bad because it's super embarrassing. Like I said, no matter how famous or how rich you are or how secure you are, getting booed like that in a stadium it's embarrassing. It just is. And I think it's leading to a lot of questions rather than people debating or being like, I'm pro Taylor, anti Taylor. It's a cultural moment that should be discussed, which is why was Taylor Swift booed? She's coming off of her Eras tour. She is arguably one of the top 5 most famous people in the world. And some people rushed in and said, oh, that's just the nature of football. No, let's not take that excuse. It's not because it's football. Okay. She was at the Super Bowl last year. She was in the middle of her Eras tour when she was at the Super Bowl last year, and she did not get booed. She also has been on the sidelines following the Kansas City Chiefs around. And obviously the NFL has spotlighted her all throughout the season, and she has not been booed. Some people say, well, it's because of politics. Well, that doesn't make sense either, because Donald Trump was there, okay? And he received a roarous applause, despite the fact that people have strong feelings against him. And, of course, everywhere he goes, there's going to be a chance that some people don't like him. And so I don't accept any of those excuses. And I think something else is happening. And I think what could be happening is that the world is starting to register some Taylor Swift fatigue. Okay. And part of this absolutely is because of what is going on with Justin Baldoni and her. She's been in the press a lot regarding this unbelievable circumstance of bullying. And even though we can't say that Taylor Swift is guilty, right? And she's doing everything to basically signal to the media, I will never speak to Blake Lively again. Please do not drag me into this lawsuit. I do think that what's happening is there's something that's starting to emerge about Taylor Swift. And I would call it almost the brand versus the person. And I'm super keen to hear the Swifties on this, because even, like I said, the Swifties really want to get to the bottom of the Justin Baldoni case and understand what was Taylor Swift's involvement. They're not hot-headed right now. They're not like, well, Blake just used her. In fact, people aren't liking the excuse that Taylor Swift is once again saying that she's been used, right? And I think people are asking questions like, how much of the brand of Taylor Swift, this nice girl who helps out people, is real? Another obvious question is, why was she so close with Blake Lively and Ryan? Because whether we know how much she contributed to this case, or whether we get answers to how much she contributed to this, we can all ask a realistic question, which is, okay, why were you friends with these monsters?
Yeah,
and we all agree that Ryan Reynolds is a monster, and you're going to think even worse of him when I show you this, something that he wrote, or he was recorded as saying, rather, in this book about Justin Baldoni. Nice pool. Wow. But you are the company you keep, okay? You are aware of Blake Lively's personality. Back in 2016, notorious, see it here, and there's just no way she took this guy to court for 4 years because it didn't happen. Like, she took a stance and was like, this is unacceptable. At the beginning of the Me Too movement, of her and the donated $250,000 and be the godmother of her children. Okay. They're all this lawsuit just reminded me of Taylor Swift in terms of the Deadpool stuff, like dropping an album, dropping all of these Easter eggs of somebody who just goes through these like Marvel, how and why you created this character. And so they sit down with these characters and the people that created them, and they ask them questions. And I'm scared. I'm so scared. So I'm going to read you directly what Ryan had to say when they sat down with him to discuss Nice Pool. Okay, I'm going to show you this, and then I'll give you the exact quotation. You can pull this up. This is from the book. I ordered it. This cost me $80. I spent $80 on this so that you don't have to. It doesn't arrive until tonight, but I was able. She was able to. She found it actually on like a super niche YouTube page of somebody who just goes through these like Marvel art books or whatever, and she was able to screen grab it. And then I ordered it, but it doesn't arrive until 10 p.m. tonight. Darn you, Amazon! I needed it for the show by today, but it's okay. Anyways, it says, in one respect, Nice Pool is everything Deadpool wishes he was. Reynolds says, easy, breezy, gorgeous, hair, normal face, gold-plated 50 caliber Desert Eagle pistols, and this beautiful suit. But the thing that Deadpool is most covetous of is, of course, Dogpool. Okay, just pausing there. Okay, so he is saying, now that we understand what this character was created for, is that as Ryan Reynolds, actually, who I want to be is Justin Baldoni, right? He's got this presentation. He's easy. He's breezy. We have him in this beautiful suit. But the one thing that Deadpool is the most coveted of is, of course, Dogpool. We know that Dogpool is Blake Lively. Okay. Like, this is so creepy. So creepy. Okay. It goes on. So Nice Pool initially just existed to serve the purpose of introducing Dogpool, but then it evolved and it grew. The idea appealed of creating this character based on guys you find in the zeitgeist right now who are nice. They may present as very progressive and enlightened. Nice Pool himself identifies as a feminist, but the truth is very different. They're talking about themselves as these incredible allies, but underneath that, there's something a little false and probably awful, Reynolds says. I liked that this guy was kind of paving over all of this shit headery, pardon my language, with his esoteric hot yoga, chakra balancing nonsense and his little top knot and all that stuff. So we plant this seed early that he's a little fake spiritual, but he also may be the kind of piece of shit. It just allows us to not feel too bad about taking his life brutally. End quote. I'm like, what is going on? Like, we created this character so that I could kill him. We created this character and we were planting the seeds early that you shouldn't like his character. So at the end, we could overkill him. We showed you, like, I think I showed you on my Instagram, was you couldn't show you like how many times he shot and killed an ice pool. And it's funny because my editor said to me when I watched the movie, it was weird because an ice pool seemed nice. And then there was this just scene of him just killing him. And there's no way to look at this other than to recognize that Ryan was living out his fantasy of killing Justin Baldoni via the movie Deadpool. And there is like no way to normalize that or to excuse that. He was living out a fantasy of killing Justin Baldoni. Like, that's the reality, okay? He wrote about this down to like his hair was somehow Justin Baldoni was driving him insane. He talks about everything Justin Baldoni speaks about on his Instagram. I told you when I crawled through it. I mean, there's just no question that this character that he created late in the day, which we went through the timeline, he added, like, tacked all of these scenes on late in the day when principal filming for photography parting was already over.
I gotta get there. I gotta get there and help her. It's not, like, whatever. That was awful. That was her thing with Justin Baldoni. I mean, what Ryan said about Justin and how he feels about him and why he created that fucking character, which is horrible. So, all right, well, that's the latest. I guess I'm still so, like, I don't understand what's happening with why would he would do that to him, but it is what it is. I'm tired, but I gotta go help my sister. And I will be back on Friday. No, Wednesday. I'll be back on Wednesday. All right, guys. I'll see you then. Please like, comment, and subscribe.